Yeah, morning everyone, welcome along. Just adjusting everything here before we start, just to make sure I'm at the right kind of angle. I can fit everything in, perfect. And I can block you up a little bit more sun. Yeah. So we're all very welcome along. We'll start in maybe just 2 minutes time, let everyone tune in. My name is Shane. I led the first two classes, so it's great to be back with everyone and delivering the session. Today's class will be a mix of strength and aerobic work. So we'll go through a warm-up and then we'll move into some aerobic work. So that's, you'd equate that to, for example, a brisk walk, being on a bike, treadmill, a little bit of exertion, really working the lungs, building up our endurance. And then we'll move into some work with weight using, if we have some small weights, tins, bottles, we'll use those. And I'd always say as well, just have yourself a good sturdy chair at the ready so you can adapt anything. All the exercises can be adapted. You can perform them standing with a little bit of challenge, or you can always adapt an intention. I would also say if any movement feels painful, and certain movements won't feel good for people, if a movement is painful, just adapt or change or leave that exercise out. So if anything causes kind of aggravation, I would just leave it out and change the exercise. So I'll just lay my weights down. Should also just have yourself your water at the ready as we come in towards 10 o'clock now. So I will begin with a warm-up. You can do this standing or seated. I might just lead from a standing position today. By all means, you can do this warm-up seated. So I have my chair beside me at the ready. So just to begin, I'm going to go very lightly with some shoulder circles. I'll just show you that from the side. When it comes to warm up, I try not to be too technical. I just want to get some movement, loosen everything out, just warm up the body, loosen out the joints, and just gradually bring that heart rate up, preparing ourselves for more challenging work ahead. Changing direction of those shoulder circles now. So I'm just going forward in circles. And the movements will start quite light in the warm-up, and then we'll progress into much more challenging movements. Next, if I bring hands to my shoulders, so that's my stance, and lightly lifting one elbow up at a time. So I'm just lifting an elbow one at a time. Some of these movements I find really nice around the chest, shoulders, any kind of tightness or stiffness, just loosening out. So just lifting up. If that feels comfortable, lifting the two elbows together. So just raising up. And showing you from the side, those elbows not going above about shoulder level. And then just rest down. Give a couple of seconds rest to the shoulders. What I'll do is bring arms across chest and pull back nice and wide. So I just think of really opening, stretching out that chest and pulling back. Might feel a little squeeze in the shoulder blades as well. And I'm just opening, stretching out the chest here as well. Really nice movement to begin with. And down. So next, hands to shoulders again. Elbows up or raised in that position. Open the right elbow, open the left elbow. So we just go one at a time, opening out to the sides. So you might feel a little stretch on the chest here. For me, it feels really good on the shoulder. So any kind of tightness, just opening out that shoulder here. Now, if that feels okay, I progress into the two. So just opening your two elbows or arms out to the sides. So just particularly, I have found this in classes where people have mentioned, particularly around the chest, shoulders, kind of tightness, stiffness. So these movements I've found quite helpful in classes. And back down. So again, just reset, a couple of seconds. Elbows in by your side, clench the hands and just curl up and down. So I'm just lightly switching the arms on, curling up and down. I should just say a big hello to any of the gang in Arklow who are watching. Great crowd out there. So I hope you're all keeping well. And anyone else tuned in, Very welcome along with us today. Now, next movement, hands onto those shoulders from a side or a lateral position. And I just lift the right elbow, lift the left elbow. So you'll just see how I'm working that movement one at a time. And as I said, these movements, not anything too vigorous at this point, just warming up, just connecting, just finding out if any parts of your body are stiff at this point before we load them up with weight and put them into more challenging movements. Progressing into the two together if that feels okay. Lifting the two elbows up together. So just lifting up. And then if I keep the elbows raised, I'm just going to soften my stance. So I just relax the knees a little. I rotate side to side. I try and keep those hips pointed forward towards the camera as I rotate my upper body. And for that, I think of my kind of belly button pulled in. My core is tight in this position. And I get a nice rotation. Should feel really nice in the upper body. So get one more. And back down. Now, moving into our lower body. I'm just going to begin with a march. Again, just simple but effective movements to just get the body warmed up. Bring the heart rate gradually up. So, very simple, just going for our march. Again, if you're doing it seated, that's absolutely fine. I want everyone to work with where is comfortable for them, whether it's seated or standing. Next, if you have your chair alongside you here, you can hold on for this one and just give it a little kick out one at a time. And again, I'm not really overthinking the movement too much, just to kick the leg out, keeping the body moving here. Kicking the leg out one at a time. And next movement, again, feel free to use your chair for support here as I just lightly kick back, heel kicks. I'm going to show you this from a couple of angles. So showing you how that looks from behind. Just think heel towards bum and just lightly from one side to the other. Again, don't force this too far back. Just think movement. Kicking heel back towards bum in this position. Okay. Next, again, chairs here if you want, might not be needed. What I want to do is soften my stance again, so I'm not too rigid. I kind of soften the stance and I go for a quarter of a squat. So really all I want to do is get a little bend in the knees and just get the hips active now. So tiny squat. I always say, imagine a bar stool behind, so a really kind of high stool. That's what I'm looking to sit down to. I'm not going for a full range squat. I'm really just switching on the knees, getting a little bit of movement and also getting my hips practice now, getting down and back before we move into a full sit to stand or squat motion, which we will do shortly. And I'll go 3 more of these, just a small little range, 2 and 1, perfect. And then just notice the camera's a touch high. For this next one, so all I want to do next is just lightly dig the heels out. Just getting a little stretch in the calf, showing you that from the side. You can see the action there, just digging the heels out, getting a little stretch. And then just to finish out, digging the toes out in front, just tapping those toes out. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So that's our warm-up complete. Hopefully we feel warmer. Heart rate is up a little bit and all my joints feel looser. And I kind of just tested my body out there. Does anything feel stiff before we go into more challenging movements? Marie Clark, great to have you with us. Great to have you with us again. So, some aerobic work. I'm going to put these 4 movements on the clock. I will guide us through them. You can do these movements in a standing or seated position. I will lead the movement in standing. If you're in seated, you just mimic the same motions. There's nothing too complicated in any of the movements, so they're fairly straightforward to do standing or seated. We're going to work for 3 rounds. This is aerobic work, so equate this to a brisk walk, to maybe being on a treadmill, being on a bike. It's similar kind of exertion. Maybe a little panty. I might go a little red. You'll probably hear in my voice that I'm working. And that's all I want from this, but do go at your own pace. So again, I'm going to put my here. I broke my stopwatch, so I've upgraded to this for the moment, my little tablet here. So now, so first movement, let us get ready. Hands up at chest level. So you see, I'm not too tight in, just up at about chest level. Palms of the hands face forward, and I begin pressing forward, back in. Press forward, back in. I think exhale as I press away. Inhale as I come back. So again, just showing from the side. There's really not much to this. Just pressing out from chest, keeping my body straight, just making sure I wouldn't arch into the position. That's your only real point here. Pushing out. Try not to come too tight back to the chest either. Keep an inch or two between your hands and your chest, and trying to keep the hands up at chest level. So as I tire, they might start to drift and drop down, but keep them up, pushing out from chest. 3, 2, 1, and rest. So those arms come down, take a couple of seconds. My next movement, I will use the back of the chair for this. So the movement will be lifting the legs out. If you're in a seated position, what I want you to do is just lift out to the side, lifting out one leg at a time. Okay, so let's get into it. If we're standing or seated, hands on chair, left leg out, right leg out. I keep the legs straight in standing, and I keep the toes pointed forward towards the camera. Just making sure you can see that. Upper body stays tall. So just make sure as the leg goes out that you wouldn't drift away. We don't want that. Your upper body should stay fixed. And it's really coming from the hips here as you lift one leg out at a time. If you're seated, you're just lifting one leg out at a time. So we finish out 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And rest, okay? Again, some movements you might feel you can do standing. Some movements you might feel you need to take a seat. It's really up to yourself, whatever feels best. Next movement, we're going to do arm circles. So clench the hands, arms out. If this position is tough, even just have the arms down. That's no problem. And let's begin. Circles. Okay. So see, I always like a steady kind of action on this. I find if people go really fast, really quick, you just burn out on this one. The shoulders will just get too tired too quickly. So I just like a steady movement when it comes to arm circles. The shoulders really active here. Keeping the arms straight, keeping the hands clenched. Have the arms a little bit lower if you need. And we're just forward in circles, just keeping those shoulders active. Another couple of seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest down. Again, just recovery. We have 45 seconds that we work, 20 seconds that we rest. So at any point, if you need to rest, just rest. There's no pressure. So fourth final movement will be a march with the arms. So we'll go at a nice moderate pace here. So let's begin. Marching with the arms. Exactly the same motion if in a seated position. Just march with the arms. Just showing you from the sides. Just see I keep a nice straight upper body. And I like to go at a nice moderate pace. Not too fast that I can't sustain for 45 seconds, but not too slow that I'm not really feeling anything. You can hear in my voice just a little bit of a pant here. I can still talk, but it is a little bit harder now. So I'm working hard and working the lungs in particular at aerobic fitness. It's me hitting the chair, don't mind that. 3, 2, 1, and rest. So whether seated or standing, if you're standing, you can just kind of rest against the back of the chair, grab a drink of water. That's your first round complete. We're going to do that again. So I always just ask people after the first round, see how that felt to you. If you felt maybe the seated version was too easy, maybe you want to do standing this time. Maybe the standing was a little bit tougher than you thought, and you want to do some of it seated now, or if any movement just doesn't feel good, just to change or leave that movement out. So it's all about adapting to what's best for you. So we're going to go through those same 4 movements again, 45 on, 20 seconds rest. But again, work within your own time range if you need a break. So I'm putting my timer on. We're going for our chest press, exactly the same if in seated. Hands up, about an inch or 2 in front of my chest. And let's begin. Press out and back in. Press out and back in. So again, I'm just pushing, keeping the hands in line with my chest as I press away. Just pressing out from my chest. Not letting the hands lower down, just pressing straight out. Keeping that nice smooth line out from chest. And never coming back too tight. And I can then kind of exhale as I press away. Inhale on the way back. We've about a couple of seconds left. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And down. Now we're going to work our leg to the side. I'm just going to show you again. If in a seated position, I want you to just lift the right leg out, lift the left leg out. So you'll just alternate like that. If you're standing, you're going to hold on to the back of the chair and begin. Right leg out, left leg out. So whether seated or standing, we're off. So right leg, left leg. I keep the toes pointed straight ahead. Just lift as far as my hip allows. And I'm keeping that upper body position straight, just so that I don't tilt side to side. So you might think that your leg should go further, but really it's not a huge range. Just a couple of inches out here will be fine. So I'm not going to push the leg out too far at the expense of losing my shape here. It's nice and fluid. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Again, about 20 seconds rest here. Next movement will be arm circles. We'll a couple of seconds rest. Again, clench the hands, arms out. If this position is a little bit tough, uncomfortable, lower the arms and go from that range. Nothing wrong with that. Arms out, and let's begin. Again, I like to keep the hands clenched. I just want to get a nice connection with the shoulders by doing that. And if I can, I try and keep the arms roughly by my side, i.e. not drifting forward too much, but really it's whatever feels good for you again. So everyone might need to have a slightly different position that feels good for them. So I should feel shoulders, arms might feel a little bit heavy, and they're normal things on this one. So a little bit of endurance, particularly in those shoulders. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Gets tiring, that one. So again, we've earned our 20 seconds rest, and we'll go into our march with the arms next. We still have about 10 seconds on the clock, so we'll use them. Just breathing air in, air out. And then final round, let's begin here. So marching with the arms in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Okay, so just marching with the arms. Again, moderate is the kind of pace I choose here. Not so fast that I tire out before the 45 seconds. Not so slow that I'm not really feeling anything. So nice and moderate. I can kind of feel it. You can hear my breath. Just I am working out. Face a little bit red, but I'm still in control. So pushing hard within reason here. Last 10 seconds. Just keep it going. If we're comfortable, exactly the same and seated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Whatever way you want to rest, recover, take some air in, out, and drink of water. Okay. Perfect. So it's going to reset. Now, so we do that block one last time. There's no pressure. You might have found the first round easy or the second round not so bad. and maybe the third will feel a little bit tougher. But again, there's no pressure. Just kind of assess how it felt. Do you think seated is better? Is standing better for you? Or is there just one movement that doesn't feel good? In which case you can change or leave it out. We just don't want anyone to feel they can't do it. It's everyone picks and chooses. You can make it harder or easier. So we will begin again, one last time, all 4 movements from the top here, and then into some work with our weights after this. So again, hands up at chest level. Begin, 3, 2, 1, and begin. Out from chest. So again, my hands stay up in line with my chest, and I'm pressing out from my chest. So just a nice aerobic block here. So I'm just connecting with the chest a little bit, but no weight at this point. We'll get into our weighted circuit shortly now. Just pressing straight out in front. Not coming back too tight to my chest. Just keeping that inch or two always. Last 10 seconds, just pressing out from your chest. We'll just finish out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And rest down. Okay, take a couple of seconds. 20 seconds on the clock. Again, just remember, if you don't like the standing one here, you can take a seat and just in that seated position, lifting the legs out, you still connect with the same muscle. We're still connecting with your hip here. If standing, hold on to the back of your chair and lift out one at a time. And we're off. So right leg, left leg, toes pointed straight ahead. Upper body stays kind of nice and tall, so I'm not losing my shape here. Just so you don't tilt from one side to the other. Your upper body stays strong as the leg lifts out. And I just think a couple of inches lifting the leg out and always keeping those toes straight ahead. So we're kind of halfway through now, nearly through this block of aerobic work. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And down. Perfect. 20 seconds rest. Final 2 movements in our aerobic circuit. Again, just kind of catch your breath. No need to jump straight in. We have a couple of seconds on the clock. So, arms out, clench the hands, arm circles. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1, and we're off. Okay. And again, just if this is uncomfortable, some people might find this position isn't good. I would say there's nothing wrong with lowering the arms a little bit and continuing the same action. Again, with arm circles, I like to go nice and steady. You'll see I'm not going too vigorous with this motion. I find there's plenty of challenge through the shoulders. If I go too fast, I'll just tire myself out on this one. So we'll just finish out 10 seconds. Probably the toughest one I find anyway. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, again, catch your breaths, 20 seconds rest, and we finish with our march. So this is your final little block of aerobic work, and then we're going to move into our strength circuit after this. Okay, so prepare myself, arms ready, 3, 2, 1, and march. Arms involved here. So I know I broke up a little on the camera there. Just again, keeping it nice and moderate. Very kind of purposeful march. I'm not kind of ambling through here. I'm trying to go at a nice moderate pace, if that feels good. If you're seated, exactly the same. Again, you're just kind of judging how can I sustain this for the full 45. So the pace I know I can sustain, but giving myself a little bit of a challenge. So particularly working those lungs at the moment. And we finish out 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, perfect. So, as I said, that's your first block of work done. We're going to move into our weight. So, just having your weights, tins, any kind of weight at all at the ready. And we'll also use body weight here as well. So for these movements, We're going to challenge ourselves using weight. Again, you can adapt movements, standing, seated. If any movement, particularly with weight, causes pain, just to adapt or change the exercise. So the last block was more about working the lungs, that kind of exertion, as equating it to a brisk walk. This is more about putting a little bit of stress on some of the muscles in our body, some of the major limbs. So we're going to work 3 movements. And again, I just want to make sure that you can see this okay. So first movement will be a squat variation. Now, everyone is different. What I'll say first of all, if anyone has an issue with the squat, we'll say if somebody's back isn't right today, what I would say is leg extension. Just lift your 2 legs out. So if this movement isn't good for you, that can be a nice adaptation. If we feel comfortable, what I want us to do is take our weights and bring them together, just in front of my chest. I can comfortably hold them. If you find it a little bit awkward, just take the 1 weight. So I could just hold the 1 weight. So it's really whatever works best for you here. I'm going to take my 2 weights, hold them up at about chest level, and then I want to stand up nice and tall from the chair. If I need to sit down and reset, I sit down. If I can do this without really resting on the chair, I will do it like that. So just going to quickly show you from the side, and then we will begin the movement. So again, remember, if you're not happy with this, leg extension. If you're comfortable, you can do the movement with me. So weights up at chest, 1 or 2. My feet nice and strong in this position. They're back close to the chair. My chest is out. My head looks forward. So I will begin. I stand up nice and tall. Hips down and back. Again, I can choose to just tip the chair, or I can choose to fully rest down for a second. It's really whatever feels comfortable. We'll keep nice control, and we'll go for about 10 repetitions here. Again, it's entirely optional if you want to sit down, or if you're comfortable just tipping the chair. But do make sure those hips go down and back all the time. As I do 2 more reps, and 1 more, and back up. Okay. Second movement, so that's your weighted sit to stand, a kind of goblet squat variation. Next, what I want to do is a shoulder movement, a lateral fly. So I find sometimes if people have difficulty with a raise, this is a really nice adaptation that I found has worked well in classes. So my setup, holding the 2 weights in line with your elbows. Bring the elbows back a little bit. That's your start position. Next, we lift out, elbows to about shoulder height with the weight, and back down. Again, lift out and back down. I'm just showing you that from the side, not letting my elbows drift forward, so keeping them back in line with my shoulders. And we're going for 12 repetitions here. Again, I'll go 6. So that's about halfway. Just lifting out. If I can get those elbows to about shoulder level, that's great. If not, that's absolutely fine. Just as high as is comfortable. Any difficulty, lift one side at a time, and that's no problem. As I get 3, 2, and 1, and down. So I find that variation really good. If anyone has difficulty with this action of lifting out, raising in front, overhead press, that fly action can be a lot better. You still work the shoulder joint, but it takes some of that pressure off. It can be a better position for people. Third movement, heel raises. So I want you to hold on to the back of your chair. I want you to walk in nice and close, keep your body nice and tall, and I want to lift my heels up, right up off the ground. Pause, and back down. Heel up, pause, back down. So my body stays straight. The only way I can go is up and back down. And we'll continue. I don't let the hips rock forward and back. I just think of my heels powering up off the ground. Toes staying flat to the floor. Now, I didn't mention, but we've already done maybe 6-7 reps. I like to go for a good 15-20 here. I find you just get that better connection by going a little bit higher with this movement. 10 repetitions, I just feel you don't get enough challenge on the back of those lower legs. So we continue on with this movement. And we'll get another 5 and 4, right up on the toes. 3, 2, and 1, and shake it out. So there are your first 3 movements. We will repeat those same 3 exercises. Again, just ask yourself, how did that all feel? If you need to change anything, that's absolutely fine. If a movement felt uncomfortable, sore, I would always say change that exercise and don't persist with any kind of pain. So we will go back to the start. I might lead from the front this time. Our goblet squat. Again, going for about 10 repetitions here. So again, sitting slightly forward in your chair, feet in a good strong position to press you up from the floor, making sure the knees don't cave in. So keep them in line with your toes. Chest out, head looks forward. I have my 2 weights or just the 1 weight if that feels better, whatever works for you. And let's begin. So again, I'll stand up nice and tall and I squat back down. I can rest or just lightly tip the chair, entirely up to you, whatever feels best. 2. If you're not comfortable, you're extending those legs out again. So you can adapt and just completely change this movement by extending the legs. You control and regulate this movement by either sitting down, maybe 1, 2, or by just lightly tipping the chair, just leaving that kind of challenge there for people who want it, but you can bring it into a much more controlled movement as well, and slowing it right down. Either way, we keep a little control, just making sure I'm not using too much momentum. You'll see my knees aren't caving in, my chest is out, and I'm looking forward. And I'm not going too fast at any point, keeping control. 2, and 1. Okay, keeping hold of your weights, and we'll go back to our fly. And so again, my setup, bring the weights up in line with your elbows, bring those elbows back a little bit in line with those shoulders. That's your start position. And let's begin. Lift out for 1 and back down, and you'll see the elbows and the weight out roughly in line with the shoulder, that kind of height. We're going to get 12 repetitions. We have 4 and 5. Let's continue on. If this movement is uncomfortable, particularly on one side, I would recommend doing 1 at a time like this. So you can adapt and change if this feels a little bit uncomfortable. As I get 3 final reps, and 2, and 1, and rest the weight down. So again, coming to the back of our chair, heel raises again, exactly the same motion if in a seated position. You hold on to the back of your chair, keeping the body nice and tall, hands on, and let's begin. Right up onto my toes and back down, keeping the body straight as you lift those heels up. Okay, I think only going up and back down. And again, I like to go quite high with the reps. I find doing 10 repetitions here, you just don't give your calf, the back of that lower leg, enough of a chance to connect with this movement. So I want a little burn on the back of my lower legs here. Into our final reps. Okay. So we're going for a good 15-20 reps. I'm not too strict on the count, but just a good volume for this movement. Little pause at the top, so there's no rush, no momentum. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and down. And just shake those legs out. If you want to drink of water, that's 2 rounds of your first block of weighted work complete. We'll do 1 more round. Just, turn that noise off a bit. Okay, so 1 more round. Again, just ask yourself if anything felt uncomfortable, anything felt painful, change, adapt the movements. It's no problem. So 3rd and final round. I might lead from the side again, and this will be our goblet squat or variation. So just remember again, if you're not happy with this movement, legs extend. That's the action, legs extend. If you prefer to just a regular sit to stand, that's fine. If you're comfortable with my variation, we can go with that. 2 weights or 1 weight just in front of your chest. I'm forward in the chair, feet nice and flat in a good firm position to press me up, chest out, head looks forward. And let's begin 10 times. Small lean, stand up nice and tall, back down. And I'm keeping those weights or weight just in front of my chest. Again, I can fully sit down, 1, 2, or I can just lightly tip down and back up. But do make sure those hips are going down and back. Sometimes we try and avoid the chair, and that's not what we want. We always want to go in that trajectory, i.e. hips down and back. So if you're really comfortable and don't need to really rest down in the chair, that's fine. If this is quite tough, you're going to take that little breather and rest on the chair. Either way, we keep this nice and controlled. There's no rush, no bounce, no momentum. 2, every rep separate. 1 final rep. And up. Rest down. So 2nd movement. Really good work so far, everyone. Lateral fly. So again, if people do find that kind of raising action difficult, this is why I'm showing you this one today, just to give you the option going forward of how to work the shoulders. Hold the weights up in line with your elbow. Just bring the elbows, shoulders back a little bit here. And then begin 12 times, lifting out, back in. And again, the elbows up to about shoulder level. And the weight coming out with the movements. Showing it from the sides. Again, this is just a much stronger position. If we have any kind of issues with the shoulders, this can be a much more comfortable action. It's just a much shorter distance, but you're still working the shoulder. The same muscle activated here. If it's really difficult, uncomfortable still, 1 arm at a time. So we get our final reps. 3, 2, and 1. Resting your weights down. Okay. 3rd, final movement, heel raises. Again, seated standing, it's the same action. Holding on to the back of my chair, nice and tall. So I always say kind of close enough to the chair, not too far away. That just keeps me nice and straight. And I begin. Heels up and back down. Heels up, back down. So right up onto the toes of your feet, keeping your body straight. What happens sometimes is we rock the hips forward and back, not putting the tension from the ankles and through the back of the legs. So that's why I'm always saying just keep really straight here. And my position can only go up and back down. And again, we go nice and high on the reps, 15, 20 reps. That would always be my target when it comes to heel raises, whether seated or standing. So we're just going to finish out. Last couple of reps. We can get a little pause at the top too. That's great. We go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just shake the legs out. So really fantastic work so far. I think you've completed your aerobic block of work. You've completed a strength block of work. And we will just do one last little block of kind of strength work again. So just following where a nice mix of strength and aerobic work. So just building up our endurance, working the lungs, Also strengthening the muscles in our body, keeping ourselves strong, keeping the bones and muscles strong. So just take a little breather. We'll go into our last round. Again, every movement can be adapted. If you want to do a movement standing or seated instead of standing, with, without weight, if you just don't like the look of a movement, it causes any pain, do just change the exercise or leave it out. But I can give adaptations too. So, first one, we're just going to do 2 arm exercises put together and 1 leg movement. So, how I will begin. Hold the weights by your side, so that kind of suitcase grip, as if you were holding a suitcase by your side. And what we do is lift the weights up and rotate, and then back down. So just think lift and rotate. And I'm just going to come a little closer just so you can kind of clearly see that action. Lift and rotate. So every time as I lift the weights up, I rotate them. So the palms of my hands face up. And I just find that's a really nice way to open out muscle in the front of the arm, your bicep. And we'll just continue on. I keep my elbows in a fixed position so they don't lift out of place. You're just keeping all the work on the front of your arms. As we get 3 more, a little squeeze at the top. 2 and 1. And back down. Now, to work the back of the arm, triceps. So, how I will do this one. Number 1, soften the knees. So I don't want to be too straight and rigid here. I relax the knees, upper body, small little tilt. So I'm not bending. I just lightly tilt forward. Elbows back, and then begin pressing. So keep your elbows fixed and press the weights back. And again, we're going for about 12 repetitions here. Pressing back. Just pressing behind from your elbows. I'm not going to exaggerate this tilt too much. I don't want to be flat. Just a small tilt forward. Keeping the elbows fixed. Pressing the weights behind. And we get 3, 2, and 1. And down. So I think we'll just keep focusing on those 2 arm movements together just to let you guys really connect with them. And then I'll do the leg motion as a standalone. I think that'll just help us, give us a chance to really connect. So again, hold the weights by your side, elbows in, lift and rotate, and then back down. So again, lift and rotate. Showing you that from action from the side. My elbows stay in. We just initiate lifting the weights up and then rotating. And just that little bit of rotation really helps me open out that muscle in the front of the arm. So something very simple like a rotation can really just add to the movements. Instead of just curling straight line up, down. Again, just coming back to the front position, lift and rotate. I'm kind of consciously getting a little bit of a squeeze at the top, physically squeezing my hand into the weight here. So you get 3, 2, and 1. And back down. Next, work in the back of the arm. So if I feel a little burn on the back of the arm, that's perfect for this next one. My stance. Relax the knees, so soften your stance. Upper body, small little tilt, very subtle tilt forward. Elbows back, press behind. If you're in a seated position, you're just sitting forward in your chair, small tilt forward, press back in the same way. Keeping your elbows fixed, pressing the weights back. Like a skiing action, pressing behind, pushing away. And again, the lean forward is very subtle. I don't want anyone kind of flat, like a table position, just a very small tilt forward. And I would say keep the head forward. I'm just looking to the camera a couple of times, but I would keep the head, my gaze, just in line with my body. And I go 3, 2, 1, and rest down. Take a couple of seconds, rest the weights down if you want. Take a drink of water. We'll perform those same two movements together one last time. Just checking how we are. Yeah, we're okay. And then we'll finish with our leg movements. So if we feel ready, one more time. So this is a really nice little combination. You're working front of the arm bicep and back of the arm tricep. So again, that kind of suitcase grip, as if you're holding a suitcase. So the weight's down by your sides. And let's begin. Lift and rotate. And about 12 times. Now, sorry if I go a couple of reps off every time. It could be a little bit under, a little bit over. But just rather explain the movements rather than just kind of monotonously count. So again, sorry if I am a couple of reps off. We try and catch it roughly at 12 here. Again, down by my side, up, rotate, and squeeze. Taking the time to physically kind of squeeze the weight at the top, it does just help connect with the movement. Physically squeezing here. Showing you from the sides, squeeze. And just with the rotation, I'm really opening out the muscle in the arm here. As I get 3 more reps. And 2. And 1. And back down. Okay. Working back of the arm. So again, my stance, I want to soften those knees. My upper body, very subtle tilt, very small. Elbows up, high as comfortable. Press back. Some people will find it hard to get the elbows back. So if that's more your position, that's absolutely fine. Just continue with that same action of keeping the elbows fixed. So don't let the full arm move. Keep the elbow fixed. And just think movement from the elbow. Pressing my lower arms, pushing them back with the weight. My upper arm and elbow, they're fixed. They're locked in place. Final couple of reps. And we'll go 3, 2, 1. And down. So that's our weights finished. Checking the time. We'll just finish out with one last leg exercise and then into our cool down. We've done a lot there today. So I'll keep this one quite short. We'll just do maybe 2 sets on each side. So we'll not overdo it here. So we have done a lot of hard work. So set up here. This is a standing exercise. If you're not comfortable with this in a standing position, I would suggest if you want to just march out for the duration of the movement. But it's quite a controlled standing exercise. So how I do it, hold on to the back of my chair, good and sturdy, my body is nice and tall, and all I want to do is lift my right foot off the ground and just bring that right leg back as my upper body leans forward. Key here, I don't bend and I don't arch my spine. I keep everything straight and I just hinge from my hips. So I think I'm tilting forward with my right leg going back and then reset. And we'll just continue for 10 times. Don't worry about how straight or perfect the leg looks. It's not about that. It's just about bringing the leg back as you tilt forward from the hips. My body should stay straight. I'm not bending. And I feel a stretch through this standing left leg, particularly on the back of my leg. But don't force this movement too far. So if you find you're going down here and losing shape, I would rein it back in and just keep it as a smaller range of movement. 2 and 1. Okay, swapping sides, and if you feel a little kind of a pull along the back of the hamstring upper leg, perfect. Next, keeping your hands on. Now the action is my left leg is going back as my body tilts forward. So feel the stretch through my standing right leg. So again, very controlled, hinge forward. Again, I'm not bending forward and I'm not arching my back. I just think tilting my body forward as my left leg goes back at the same time. I'm feeling a little stretch through that standing right leg. And a nice subtle movement in and around 10 reps here. I might just go for 3, 2, and 1. And back down, shaking the legs out. One last time each side, and then we're finishing up with our cool down for today. Again, if you just don't like that movement, it doesn't feel good, no pressure at all here. So, last time, holding the back of the chair. Again, nice straight position. I'm not bending, I'm not arching either. I'm just nice and straight. So again, I just begin that hinge from my hips. I tilt forward as my right leg goes back. Again, about 10 times. I'm not looking to, I worry less about the end position. If you focus too much on getting into a perfect flat position, we can start to lose some of our shape here. So I just keep it very controlled if this is a new movement. If it feels okay, then you can start to go a little bit further, but only if you're feeling kind of through the back of the leg. That's where we should feel, back of the lower leg, or back of the upper leg, sorry, and maybe a little squeeze in our glutes as well here. Get 2, and 1, and swap. Now, this time, the opposite leg, so again, holding on to the chair. Now my left leg is strong and standing, and again, I tilt forward. So again, my body stays nice and tall. I'm not bending. And there's no arch in my back. And I feel back of the upper leg as the opposite leg goes back as I tilt my body forward. With very subtle movements, not looking to get 100% flat. Just working the movement. 2, and 1. And rest, okay? So that's our main block of work done. Plenty of work. We did lots of aerobic work, lots of strength work there. So really working the body hard. We're going to take a cool down now just to relax our bodies back. You can do these seated, standing, whatever works best. I'll just guide us in standing. First motion, bring your hands together for your first stretch and just lightly bring the arms back. So that's my position. Just kind of opening out the shoulders here, little stretch and relaxing. Again, pull back, hold and relaxing. Once more, pull back and hold and relaxing. Next, a chest stretch. So how I do this one, hands onto my lower back. That's my start point. And I just bring the elbows in, stretching out that chest. For any kind of a stretch, just make sure it feels quite nice. We don't want at this point anything too vigorous. So if you find you're really strained on the stretch, I just ease off the position a little bit. And relax. Keeping the hands on my lower back, elbows in, stretch out that chest, hold, and back in. Once more, reset, hands on my lower back, elbows in, stretching out the chest and hold position. And relax. Next, a stretch of the upper back. So fingers together, hands pointed out. Even just put one hand on top of the other if that's better. Straighten out your arms. That's my position, holding, getting a little stretch in the upper back, and then relaxing. Again, press out and hold, and back in. And once more, press out and hold, and back in. Okay, we'll just go seated to finish. We did work those calves. Very simple stretch. Feet up, point the toes forward, holding this position. And we'll go for the opposite motion, pulling the toes back in towards your body. Again, toes point forward away from your body. Toes back in towards your body. And down. And staying comfortable in my seated position, lift the right knee up. Hold on to the knee nice and light and just gently raise that knee up. Holding that stretch. Couple of seconds. And down. Opposite side, lifting my left knee up. Holding on to the knee and just lightly pulling up and hold. Again, nothing too vigorous at this point. I should be able to kind of comfortably hold this position. If it's really tight, or just ease off a little bit. And down. Once more each side, right knee up. Hold on. Gently pull up and hold. And final time on the left. My left knee comes up. I hold on. And gently pulling up and hold. And back down. Just finish off, just to make sure we feel fully relaxed. Big deep breath, air in through nose. Think 1, 2. And a slower exhale, double the length of time, 4 or 5 second release. Out your mouth. Air in through nose. Slow exhale, out your mouth. And again. Slow exhale. Twice more. Inhale. Slow exhale. One last time. Okay, so that's us finished for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully you feel better after that. Again, remember, everyone is at a different stage of where they're at with the exercise. So some of us might have found that quite tough. Some of us maybe found they could do more. So really, everyone is a little bit different. It's about adapting, doing movements, standing, seated, changing anything that doesn't feel good, and just staying active. But just you did a lot, whatever kind of level of interaction you had with the session there, you did a lot of good work. Aerobic strength, we did lots and lots of that session. So really well done. Any questions, anything you're not sure of, just let me know. But really great work, and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back again next Wednesday at the same time. So great work, and I'll see you again soon. I'll just leave it there actually for a couple of seconds. If anyone wants has any comments, I'll just keep an eye. And well done, Marie Clark. Great work. Risa, Betty, sound great stuff. Great stuff. Thanks, Mary. Great stuff. It's great just to see, just to gauge, because if anything was too easy, too hard, it's just great to kind of know that you're getting some kind of a challenge from it. That's great. So do appreciate that. That's great. Okay, so I'll just sign off now, and that's great. Really do appreciate the comments there. So well done, Mary and Risa. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. Great work. Well done, everyone.